We are live. Wait, no, we're not.
I'm live.
Wow, now we are. There we are. We are live from Nubian Heuman in the Anacostia Arts Center in historic Anacostia, Southeast Washington, D.C.
Clipping,
and this is, I am clipping. That's what it is. The sound is up too high. Oh, okay.
Yeah. There you go.
This is the Neighborish LiveCast. Perfect. There we go. Yeah, get your anchor popping because I'm using OBS and our guest today, Anika, is going to use Anchor, and we're going to see. We're going to see.
Something's up with your sound.
It is. You can't hear me. It's not.
I mean, it's going in. It was going.
It's
in
still
and out.
going in and out.
Yeah.
It is, isn't it?
And can I get some richness on my?
You told me to turn it down. You what?
Again, can I get some richness on my vocals, please? Check. A little bit more, please.
With that?
Yeah, exactly. I could tell there was something wrong.
Hold on.
And I'm just
But we
acknowledging
here, though. Welcome to
Dave's technical difficulty.
the Neighborish LiveCast. Hopefully, it's not doing that through the whole situation here. The one day Anika was telling me, you need to be using.
Like, nah, I'm good with my rinky-dink setup. It works. It does usually work. Oh, and Eddie Bryant's watching, and that's the only other time we've had technical difficulty. Is when Eddie was on the show. We ain't do. I'll take over, Dave. Welcome to the Neighborish LiveCast here at Nubian Heuman in the Anacostia Arts Center. I'm your host. What's my names you be giving me? DC's native son, and what is it? SE3 representative, Jason. Yeah, give it up for me. And then also my co-host, Super Dave, Mr. Incredible. That's your only joints. Super Dave, Mr. Incredible. He's doing technical stuff. And today our special guest is owner and curator, chief operator, and super duper queen, Miss Anika Hobbs. Give it up. I don't know what we talk about because, as y'all know, I don't know any subjects. It's all on Dave, but he's doing technical stuff. But he's back now. Let's see what's up.
Yeah,
here we go.
That's what we do. Yeah, see, it works fine. It's perfect, and there's no problem with it whatsoever. Anyway, as Jay said, we are here. This is the Neighborish LiveCast, and we're so glad to have one of our first guests on the Neighborish LiveCast.
She was the first
guest,
the
right?
First
Jay
guest.
was like, "Hey, you come be on the show." It's like, what? Okay.
I'm pretty good at doing it.
But yeah. So we're so glad to have you here. We're gonna talk to you about being a female entrepreneur, being a black female entrepreneur, being an entrepreneur, the entrepreneurial spirit. There's a lot of entrepreneurial things going on today. But first, there's a lot of things going on in the city, in the country, in the world that we need to talk about. And so we're going to talk about it. I'm going to start by talking about B. Smith. Of course, you guys know yesterday she passed away. And she was a model, TV host, lifestyle guru, and restaurateur. It was announced yesterday that Barbara Elaine Smith, better known as B. Smith, lost her battle with Alzheimer's. The announcement came through her husband via their publicist. She started modeling in the 60s, and in 1976 became the first African-American model to grace the cover of Mademoiselle magazine. More modeling and TV jobs throughout the 70s and 80s. And then in 1986, she opened the first B. Smith's restaurant in New York, followed by famous locations in places like Atlanta and in Union Station here in D.C. In 2014, she announced that she was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, and she said she made the announcement to dispel the myths and break down the stigma around the disease, and she's been one of the faces and supporters of efforts to cure it and things of that nature. She would be greatly missed. She was an awesome lady, the essence of style and grace. Rest in peace to B. Smith. I'm glad that you're here because I want to ask you a little bit about having a woman like that out there in the world to kind of look up to and kind of, give you inspiration and things like that. Was she someone that you knew about and followed, or? And it's cool if you didn't. I didn't mean to put you on the spot, but
she's definitely somebody that I knew about, especially on the modeling side, like the fashion modeling side, and of course, B. Smiths. But I think, you know, what is really heartbreaking about it is that you just see a person come, like, basically triumph through difficulty, because modeling during her time was not easy. It wasn't like you could just shoot on Instagram and somebody picks you up. But and not to say that it is still that easy, but in some ways it is. Yeah, but you know, just what she was able to do with her career up into being 70, you know, and so I think that's a prime example of just taking what you have, flipping it, and really growing in entrepreneurship in all types of facets. She built a great portfolio, and I think that's something as a Black woman to look at and honor.
Definitely. Her brand was amazing. Everything from, you know, like the modeling and the TV show, which really like brought her into people's homes, to like she had like the furniture line and you know, stuff with Bed Bath and Beyond and different things like that. So just an amazing person, amazing, strong Black woman, you know. And so she will definitely be missed. I want to talk a little bit about, well, I know Jay-Son loves the lists.
Oh.
And Hot 97 put out the list of the top hip-hop groups of all time. They said the top 10.
Top 10 groups?
Groups of all time.
Does that include duos? I always get confused.
They say groups and duos, but I was glad that they didn't include, because it's a difference between a duo and a rapper and a DJ, which is something
like
different.
Eric
So
B.
they
and
didn't
Rakim.
have Eric B. and Rakim or Will Smith and the Fresh Prince,
right.
people like that. But their list went like this. They started with Wu-Tang.
That's number one?
Yeah.
Okay, I can stamp that.
Number 2 was Tribe. Outkast is 3, Mobb Deep, Run DMC, NWA, Bone Thugs and Harmony, the Fugees, the Lox, and EPMD. Now that's their whole list. I mean, I'm cool with it. I mean, it's a couple of people. That. I'm like, I don't know if you could do a greatest hip hop groups list and not have Naughty by Nature on there. Or
top 10 though.
Top 10.
Who are they gonna replace in that list?
A couple of people. The Lox.
Now, hold up. Bar for bar, you think Naughty by Nature would take
for
the
that?
Lox?
Yeah, because if you're looking at bar for bar from the time they were out to the time the Lox was out, definitely. And then, you know, Naughty by Nature had more they got hip hop changing.
Yeah, they definitely got cultural.
Hip hop hooray.
Yeah.
OPP started a whole movement. It wasn't the best movement but it was a movement. Everything will be all right.
If it's top 10, I wouldn't be mad if they were replaced.
Right, yeah. And then, I mean, people like, you know, Onyx or De La Soul, or even Salt and Pepper. Like, how Salt and Pepper.
But what I'm saying is
how Salt and Pepper.
You're talking about top 10.
Top 10, Salt and Pepper.
Salt and Pepper was
who they going to replace?
You know what? When I was putting this whole thing together, I wasn't thinking.
Well, I mean, as long as y'all just replacing the Lox, okay? Because it's like, I'm like, who they going? It's not that they bad. I'm just like, who they going to replace?
Because like, you know,
Sound's doing that crazy thing again, Dave.
I don't know. I have no idea why. This is the first time it's ever done. I think it's Anika. I think it's her fault.
My energy is big.
It is. We like it, but apparently the sound.
I could ride with it. Did you see the Billboard did the top 10 MCs?
Oh, okay. What was that? This was recently?
Yeah, I just saw it yesterday. I don't know if they did it recently, but I just saw it.
Oh, yesterday. Okay. How So do you remember like the number 1 or 2? Or
yeah, it was list? Number 1 was Biggie. I was like, okay.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't remember all of them, but a lot of my top 5s were in their top 10, so I was like, I couldn't complain. I was like, all right.
Well, yeah. So,
you remember number 2? Who was
any other ones at all? I thought you was going to talk a little more.
Nah, I don't. I don't remember. I just well, I don't know in order, but I know Biggie was number 1. Then somewhere, I think it was like Rakim, Eminem was 3.
Oh.
It was like Nas, 3 Stacks,
Eminem
Lauryn Hill,
Nas and 3 Stacks.
Yeah, exactly. I know Ghostface was in there. Lil Wayne was number 10. Kendrick was number 9. And so I mean, it was all joints that I'd be like, okay, I think Jay was number 2.
Okay.
It was Biggie, then Jay, then Eminem, then Rakim, then Nas.
Pac wasn't in there.
Pac, which they broke down a little bit, was a better writer, storyteller. But as far as MC, like it's a difference. I'm just, and this is Billboard, so this ain't ain't our list. So,
and that's what MCing. He controlled the crowd, and he had, but I don't know. All right.
But as far as lyrics and stuff, but and Pac's my dude. So
Right.
but I understand hip hop, and I understand even with like you was talking about the groups. It's like, okay, I could go with that as long as Wu-Tang number one.
Right.
And that's how I felt with the top like MC list. It's like as long as Biggie number one.
Okay.
I was like, all right, everybody
Makes
could
sense.
fall
Makes
in the
sense.
line. As long as they get number one right.
Right. So,
Yeah.
did you see the fight?
Yeah, I did.
Wilder versus Fury.
Yeah.
Did you see it, Anika?
No.
Oh, okay. You're not a big fight fan. You don't watch all the.
It was rough, man.
It was.
It was rough.
It was brutal. Is what it was.
Yeah, because I thought I go to boxing. I thought I was gonna go spar this last Saturday. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna spar next week. Then I saw that fight. I was like, no, I'm not. I'm just train it out. I'm not doing no sparring. Cause
That's It was crazy.
rough.
I didn't see the fight live. I caught like the highlights.
yeah, me
'cause
too.
was
I didn't
working.
see it live.
But I did notice that
Uh-oh.
I did notice that Tyson Fury he said during the pre-fight interviews he was saying he wanted to taste blood, and
Yeah,
so
he did. He tasted blood literally.
He licked Wilder's neck.
Yeah, but that's what they do, man. It's like that's part.
I don't
of their
feel
culture.
like boxing is like a brutal sport. It's violent. It's it's a lot of things. It ain't licking necks though. I don't.
It is.
when they
If
start
you
licking
come from
necks,
their
I don't
culture,
wanna
it's a
watch
cultural
boxing no
thing,
more.
man. It's a cultural
Is
thing.
it really?
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Mm-hmm.
Who culture is that?
Tyson Fury and whatever he studies and been raised up in, like that's part of his culture and their culture, and that's.
I
what
ain't
they
seen
do.
him lick nobody else's neck.
How much have you studied
I
him?
think he was slightly attracted to Wilder,
Why,
so he
why
was.
is he a culture?
No,
Well, he's saying
his culture.
like
His
'cause
culture.
He's like gypsy or something.
Yeah,
like
he's like
he's
a
a gypsy king. That's what he called
gypsy
himself.
king.
Oh,
Yeah.
he's a gypsy for real.
Mhm.
Yeah. That wasn't like a racial slur. He's actually.
And so some cultures have human sacrifice and what's it called when you eat people? Cannibalism, and they do a lot of work in blood, and so
Okay.
that's just certain people's culture. So it's
Yeah, you went a little further than I thought you would, but okay.
yeah. Well, that's why we're here.
Oh, the top 10 group list, real quick. Just Ghetto Boys. I forgot to mention the Ghetto Boys. Like, how they not like.
Yeah, I mean, because Face is in my
Face.
top 5 too,
And
as
if
far
the
as
Lox
MC.
is on there,
Yeah. I mean, I could
primarily
argue that.
because of Jada Kiss's ability.
Yeah,
and
it is. I agree.
Ghost is a good writer and stuff, but the Ghetto Boys, come on. But anyway, I just had to throw that in there.
Now that one I could because Face is undeniably one of the best storytellers
One of the-
ever in
yeah.
hip hop. Up there with Slick Rick and all the other
Say
people that
Slick
could
earlier. Yeah.
tell stories.
Yeah, definitely. So, I saw a story earlier this week about a couple of school districts who were playing with the notion of getting rid of the 2.0 GPA requirement for athletes, and they were
Word.
saying that it can be prohibitive for the athletes, and that
In high school?
and that the sports environment or the team environment is conducive to building up their GPA. So I think it's just a ploy to get the kids as good at sports, but not that smart to be able to play.
Bruh. as a former high school coach
I was going to ask you,
of football and
that
basketball.
requirement make them work though, right?
School is so easy now as opposed to when I came up. There's so much help and support to get youngins to do well in school, and I can only speak of the schools that I've dealt with in DCPS, which is DC Public School System. Typically in a high school, grade 9 through 12, the work that they're learning is at most, unless you're in like AP classes, 7th or 8th grade work. I'm talking about for 11th and 12th graders. And so we're doing a disservice to these youngins by lowering a 2.0 GPA in this system, in this curriculum that's designed for like a 12 or 13-year-old student. At some point we got to be like, we're lowering our standards too much. And that's just my thoughts on it. I'm sure there's a prison and pipeline strategy in place to make things perfect and work to perfection. But that's just my little 2 cents being in DCPS, and in and around DCPS for about 20 years and coaching student athletes, this is it's quite easy to get a 2.0 in this curriculum.
Right. I thought that was kind of crazy that they made the assertion that it was prohibitive. Like
That's
that
not true at all.
So what do you think the motive is if that's not it?
Well, the motive is what it's always been, from my perspective, is to I guess miseducate students so that they're easily controlled adults. And so it's so much harder to control an independent thinker or a creative thinker,
right.
When it comes to like having to control somebody up until they're 60, 70 years old. The best way to do it is to kind of intrude and indoctrinate a certain way of life or a certain standard, early.
Right.
And so it becomes habitual as to what their wants, needs, and desires will be. And then there's already a system in place that meets all of those wants, needs, and desires that were created in their adolescence through a system of education.
Wow. That's a lot deeper than I thought you were going to go with that.
Well,
again.
you be asking
No, I'm just playing. Nah,
questions,
you on point today, though. I see you, man.
Well, I mean,
you might have did some research today, did you?
Well, I mean, I've been
You
doing
kinda
20
focused.
plus years of research. When you're talking
I feel you.
specifically about high school athletes, student athletes, like that's kind of my lane. And so you speaking on, things that I'm already familiar with. So yes, I have done research, a lifetime of research in regards to like how to change things and make those things that I see are contradictory a little bit better and work in our favor. So when I see strategies like that in place, like lowering the GPA for student athletes and all of that, yeah, it's just part of the plan.
Right?
Yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, they
You
just
know
upping it up a little notch.
Right.
Yeah.
Man, I'm going to go off script a little bit, man.
Uh-oh.
Last night I saw, I tried to watch, have you ever heard of the movie called The Best of Enemies with Taraji Henson?
Nah.
You ever heard of it? So basically she plays this, it's a lady, I didn't even do no research on it. She plays a lady who was, activist in the South. Who was working toward school integration, and she wound up having to work with this Klansman played by Sam Rockwell.
Oh yeah,
and they
I don't like where this is
wind up
going,
being, yeah, and then the movie was just so like, oh man, I wish you, oh man, because it was just like I tried to give it a chance because I like Taraji, she plays some hood stuff, but she's a good actress, like she really is grounded in skill. So, but yeah, it was.
Why'd you bring this up, Dave?
It just bothered me.
You went off script for that?
Yeah. I thought maybe you had seen it and we could talk about how much we hated it together, but you let me down. So
I'm sorry.
It's all good. But yeah, man. So let's see.
Really?
Yeah.
That's how you going over there? Okay.
Yeah.
What's next, Dave?
All right. You okay?
Nope.
Okay. All right. Well, George Zimmerman is back in the news. Did you hear about this?
What did he do?
He's talking about suing.
Oh, he's suing.
Yeah. Warren and Buttigieg because they,
might as well. I think we should elect George Zimmerman to be a representative of America.
Of America?
Yeah, I mean he's like the face of America. He's him and Donald Trump. Like they should team up.
Of white America.
Yeah,
maybe.
I mean, the true America.
Well, yeah.
They are like physical manifestations of what America is. Like George Zimmerman is an American hero.
American. I mean, I don't.
How else can you make a living? Like just, signing Skittles and selling artwork.
That's crazy.
He's become wealthy, and
Right.
that's
Yeah.
for his position and actions towards black people has made him successful.
That's true.
Donald Trump too. So they should team up and do a campaign together, and they can rally all of their folks.
It's crazy though that he just says like, what lawyer is he working with that's like, yeah, we should do that case. We should try this. We should sue.
A smart one.
I mean, none of them are ever like he's. The wild thing is you're right though, because even though they're never going to trial, it's keeping his name in the news,
and he can
It's
still
keeping him
go
out
around
there.
signing stuff and making
being-
like public appearances,
Pseudo
as if he's
famous.
a celebrity now.
Right.
So
I didn't
it's
know.
like, yeah,
killing
and
black people made him a
America
celebrity.
fuels that.
Yeah,
Like
definitely.
he couldn't do that if it wasn't a market for it.
Definitely.
If there wasn't money and checks coming in for, what he represents. That's the only way to do it.
That's true.
So,
Yeah, I don't even want to waste any more time on him. Last week we had a conversation. We were talking about, and this is right in line with the Black Love experience.
Oh, Black Love experience coming.
We were talking about how the issue with men saying "I love you" to each other. Do you remember we had that conversation, Jay?
It's an issue?
Yeah, it was
Yeah, it definitely is. Like, I mean, it's it's
man,
a
Cliff
stigma
Matt
around
just hit
it.
me up. I love you, brother.
Yes. And I mean, so, and I was telling the story about how, and I said I was going to tell it this week about how it had to be maybe like 5 or 6 years ago. I was, my cousin's in North Carolina, and we would have conversations on Facebook Live all the time. And one time we was hanging up, was getting off. You know how black people never say goodbye? Like, all right, we'll never say goodbye. It's almost an insult. Goodbye. Anyway, but yeah, he was like, all right, bro, I'm gonna talk to you later. I love you, man. And it was, for some reason, it was like weird to me. It like felt like it made me uncomfortable to the point where I was all right, much love to you too. But and it stayed with me so much because of how uncomfortable it made me, and it shouldn't have, right? Like, it's family, and he loves me. You know what I'm saying? I love him too, and so it made me think about it so much that now I was making a point to to share that type of love with everybody.
I tell you, I love you all the time, Dad.
Yeah, definitely, and I say it too. I've evolved to a point where it's comfortable, but it's funny to see now when I say it to people, and they're like, oh, yeah,
They're like,
cool.
yep.
You good, bro? You good? All right, word up.
Skibbity doo dah.
Right. Skibbity doo dah. Yeah. But I mean, I think that it kind of denotes in this kind. So when I said that, you guys kind of looked at me weird, like
I can't speak for Anika, but I'm surrounded by a different tribe of people, so that's kind of like commonplace in the circle of people that I surround myself with.
But you've also been in places, in different circles and tribes and things where, I mean, I'm sure it wasn't always.
Nah, it kind of like even on the block around my way, like we.
Well, I lived around your way. I wasn't out there, but.
I mean, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. You weren't out there, but I mean, like even out there, it's like we just did do that. Like I'm blessed, man, to be in the middle, in the heart of Southeast, and to get that type of love, man. Like, cause we've been doing that for years. I can't, but I'm just saying it wasn't a weird thing. Cause we've been through so much, like shootouts and deaths and so much trauma that we recognize like that, like we really do love each other. And so we actually tell each other like, I love you, bro. Like, pretty consistently, even from like a young age, like early 20s, you know what I'm saying? So like I said, I've just been blessed to be surrounded by that energy, in different environments, on the block, in the music culture, in the sports culture,
right.
Being on playing Division II basketball, and you going through a battle, and then you lose, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
So, I've been blessed to be around men who haven't been afraid to express themselves and be honest and be like, and tell another brother that I love you. Because, we seen people die and go through traumatic hardships, and we realized the importance of each other early without even some political or religious undertone to it. We knew we love each other. Yeah,
and it was like, it's just that. It's like a pure feeling. It's no, like you said, religious or any kind of weirdness.
You don't know when you next day somebody be gone,
right?
Like,
and that's the key.
Him.
Is like you don't want to be at a point where you saying it to an open casket. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I mean it's that serious at some point. So
yeah,
spread the love, y'all. Don't be ashamed
Absolutely.
to say. You love.
Come to the Black Love experience and get some.
Definitely.
Share some, get some.
Love, that is that Black Love.
And more.
Okay. I don't know what Jay is offering at y'all situation.
Hey.
Different experience.
Hey, But I've never experienced anything other than love after any black love experience. So I'm just talking madness.
What you do after the experience is your business.
It's been nothing. So, which is why I can joke so freely about it. Like, it's just jokes. Nothing really happens.
You know what? I think it might be your that's an iPhone.
Yeah.
I think it might be interfering. You think?
No.
You don't think so?
He tried to blame it on. He's still trying to blame it on you.
I've never had this happen before. No, seriously, it's
It was
never.
doing it before I was even recording.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Well,
it was.
I'm just trying to eliminate everything. I wasn't trying to
process of elimination.
Yeah, exactly. I'm trying to figure out why.
An iPhone.
Yeah, but it's all the way over there. I was saying it's like right on top of the thing. So I was thinking, but it's still. You're right. It is still doing it.
For
You're
real.
right. So I'm just checking.
This just
though. I'm
does audio.
saying.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, but yeah, I have no idea what's going on here. But anyway, that's why I'm kind of a little off today. I apologize for not being as on point. I'm a little perturbed at this point.
Perturbed. Ain't you?
I do what I can. Hey man, I be watching the playbacks of the shows. Some of the stuff that we did like last week, we hit the hate you. Like, it's pretty funny. It's pretty funny. We got some. I got to do like a highlights reel because it's some pretty funny stuff that happens.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, you know what? Patrice be sneaking some little shots in there too. We don't even be paying like we missed like 3 of them, but I'm sitting there rolling, laughing at the little stuff she be saying. Little thing. Shout out to Patrice. Should be back with us next week.
She probably out in the hall again.
Right. Hiding out there throwing shots.
Doing squats.
Right. Squats and crunches and stuff. But yeah, so a couple of weeks ago, the D.C. City Council introduced legislation that would strip gender and patriarchal terms from the D.C. Code and replace them with more gender-neutral language. The Gender Terms Modernization Amendment Act of 2020 would change
I'm sorry.
would change instances of he or she in the law books to the individual or they. The bill was introduced by David Grosso, an at-large independent member of the council who has been a leader in the LGBT legislature. You all right, man?
I'm just looking at Anika's face.
Right.
She's having the same thoughts I'm
That-
having.
that
But I'm
you
gonna
have-
let it ride
I'm
out.
gonna get
Go
through the
ahead,
story,
babe.
but then I want to hear all of these thoughts.
I'm
That's why I
couldn't
brought it.
help
Yeah,
my laughing. I'm sorry.
yeah. No, go ahead, do what you do.
I'm sorry.
But I mean, not maybe so loud.
And
but
ask
no.
Anika, because I want to hear the politically correct way to answer these things
Okay.
before you ask me.
Yeah, this is David Grosso, is an independent member of the city council who has been a leader in LGBTQ legislation during his council tenure. He says, we believe strongly that language matters, that it actually holds power, and that language of our laws matters. Grosso told NBC News that it's incredibly important that people feel included in the District of Columbia Code to the fullest extent. The 43-page bill consists of suggested terms, Grosso said, because for me it's important that we have a hearing and listen to the public fully on what they think we should change it to. Things like his will be changed to the individuals, men will become individuals, men will become individuals or humans, brothers and sisters will become siblings, and different things like that. Although we have done a lot of research and work on this, it is something that we should put out and say we don't have all the answers. We want to hear what everyone thinks. So, yeah, they trying to take all the the specific gender pronouns out of the DC laws and codes officially and make it more accepting to all of the different to the L, the G, the B, the T, and the Q. What's your guys' opinion on it? I mean, I have an opinion. I'm gonna reserve mine until I hear what you guys think.
My PC response?
Yes.
Yeah, well, I mean, you are the owner and curator of Nubian Heuman.
You got to keep it PC.
Okay.
But
My
that's
PC
why you got
They
me
might not
here.
look. They might not be able to hear you anyway. I don't know yet. I'm gonna have to check it after we finish. But no, I'm just
I mean,
because my audio is
my PC response is okay.
okay.
That's all I got.
That's all you got.
I mean, I
That's
understand
a safe
it
response.
as a
Definitely.
woman.
Yeah.
I understand that, we grew up reading everything is he, right?
Yeah.
So, and I'm a she. That's the
Did
pronoun I
so?
go with.
Did you feel like alienated by that?
It's a trigger. It's a mark, right?
Okay.
You feel that like, oh, that's not really me, but you understand that it is supposed to be me, but you don't feel connected to it because it's he. I'm not
Understood.
a he.
And that's the energy behind what they are trying to
so
do.
I can understand that, but
Okay.
am I paying my
Okay.
tax dollars for people to have?
I feel like it
hearings
might
and
be a
everything?
waste of
I really just feel like, go ahead, get the white out, change it,
Right. Yeah.
get it done.
Yeah.
I understand, but I mean, individual, that's
Right.
absolutely fine.
Yeah.
But how much time are we taking on this?
Are we-
when there's
right.
people like dying in the streets,
Stan.
hungry.
I don't even have to give my opinion because that is my opinion.
that was
You,
pretty good.
That was a good
I
job
wasn't
of
expecting it to
deciding
be
she
that
should.
precise.
But I mean, I'm not trying to be disrespectful to anyone. I
Right,
just believe,
right.
Like, yeah, that's correct. Let's
Right.
go.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So your official word is let's go. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
With an AY.
With the AY.
Yep.
Jay, what you got?
That was pretty good. Well, yeah, I guess after hearing her response, I kind of feel the same too. I mean, I guess other than I feel the contradiction with women having to read he.
Yeah.
I think that should be changed absolutely all the time. Like, you know, I'm 100% fan of that. But I'm like, well, if I'm man. Well, subjectively
So
speaking,
you just said man.
Yeah,
You should have
I'm
been like woman.
You saw me look like
but I'm
woman.
talking to myself.
You should have been they.
No, no, I am a man. I don't care what the government tries
Right.
to tell me that I am. You know, I am
You are
connected,
an individual.
you know, to a higher power, and I feel connected to manhood. And so I can't allow another entity to separate me from what is, you know, divinely aligned. And
Okay.
so with that said, I think women, or I guess people that identify as women, should be called she. And men, I guess, and people who identify with men should be called he. But I'm also, you know, like Anika said, man, like, again, I said, man, yeah, I don't care. Like, if they want to use money and time to like change all of the words, like that's not really doing anything for the work that I'm doing, you know, and the spiritual work that I'm doing, the community work that I'm doing, you know, the cultural work that I'm doing. It doesn't matter, you know, their laws and words and ink and all of that. It doesn't really hold a candle to the spiritual work that I'm connected to. So whatever ploys and plots and strategies that they have in place to run a culture and a society, I understand their angle, their motives, and their methods, and I have my angles and my motives and my methods that I'm attached to and aligned to. So it doesn't really hold a lot of weight or, you know, space in my mind. So to each his own. Do what you got to do. You know, what was it? Okay with the AY, yeah.
With the
whatever.
AY.
Yeah, there we go. I second that opinion.
That okay. You second the okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so I mean, I definitely agree. I feel like nobody should have to feel disrespected or not even specifically disrespected, but like you said, it's kind of that feeling of exclusion. Like, you know, even though it's supposed to be inclusive of you, like you put it perfectly, like you can feel that it's not. So in that sentiment, I do feel like that. It's understandable, and this is like I can't remember who said it, but I heard somebody say that that this is a whole new like frontier. This is like a different time and a different. So it's going to take some time for us to get everything together. I do think in the effort to remain ahead of the curve and to stay on top of making sure everyone is respected and represented, there's always going to be a certain level of overcorrection, and then so we have to kind of bounce back because I mean. Like you said, taking the time to actually make it such a huge thing. And I mean, there's probably more political motives behind what he's doing than necessarily trying to care, you know. So, but I mean, I definitely see the idea behind it is one that was grounded in nobility. So I appreciate, you know, that. I do feel like that there shouldn't be. What'd you say?
I ain't saying.
What?
Nothing. I was giggling at the term grounded in nobility. That's
Oh
all.
yeah, well, most things. I truly believe that most things start from a place of nobility, and then it's corrupted. Like people corrupt it. Like the ideas of most of the things. If you take it down to its simplest, like the idea, for instance, of like religion and things like that. If you take it down to the simplest idea, it started with like a notion of something completely different than what people was like. Oh, I could use this to control people and make them do this and that. So I mean, I think that's where where it came from, and the idea behind it to make sure that people feel included is a sound one. You can't hate that. But what I was going to say, I do feel like there shouldn't be. I don't know if there should be, and I ask you guys' opinions on this. Somewhat of an effort to dismiss the actual the actual binary like pronouns and stuff like that, because I mean I prefer to be called he. I like it. It's cool with me. I don't think that it's necessarily something that should be completely done away with. Maybe interchangeable or something like that. I don't know. Like I said, it's a new
at this point.
Yeah, so I mean we'll figure it out. I think that's what we do.
Who will?
As human beings, we'll figure it out. I think we do eventually figure stuff out.
Really?
Like to a certain extent, to a living extent. Like we're not all out here. Yeah, certain. That's okay. I'll say it. I'll give you definitely certain human beings. Right. Like I always say, and I mean I definitely agree with that sentiment. Like I always would say, and something I learned like on the most fundamental level working retail is that the human race is brilliant, but people are stupid. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I love people, but it's like they don't think, things like that. But so. The human, we'll figure it out as a whole, but some of us will. So yeah. Moving on.
Good luck. Yeah.
I see I don't have a lot of support here today.
I'm glad you optimistic, Dave.
Right.
We need that in our lives.
I try to stay.
Thank
I try
you,
to be all the time.
You sound crazy
always.
to me.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
You don't think that people will eventually figure it out?
No.
Cause so that's what so all the stuff that you preach, I want to ask you about this.
Yeah, come
all
on,
the
give
stuff
it to
that
me.
you talk about all the time about unifying and organizing to make a better future. Basically, You don't believe it's going to happen though.
I think with a concerted effort, I don't think people are just going to figure it out.
Well, I didn't say they was just going one day serendipitously be like,
all humans are going to get it. Like,
Well, I mean, but it's going to take work though. I never said. Did I say we was going to? See, you got to be come on now. You got to be the tiebreaker. You got to.
Sorry.
I think it was just because you said it nonchalantly, like, oh, it'll even itself out. It's not.
Yeah, I didn't say even itself out either. I see.
That's the energy you gave behind
today.
it.
Where's Patrice?
She wouldn't help you either.
I didn't say it was a nice, jolly situation.
But that's what it seemed like.
I'm just saying that it's not. It's not bleak. You know what I'm saying? Like to a certain extent. You see bleakness like in the.
What is wrong with
right
you
now?
today?
No, I mean this is optimism, though, right? Like I mean, so like you're not,
Yes,
so
you are. Speaking through the window of optimism.
Exactly. So I mean, it definitely is.
She's playing you, Dave.
Right now. No, she's
falling.
not.
All right. Okay. All right. You got it.
Speaking the truth.
Okay. All right, man.
The truth. Like if you're not optimistic, what are you? Pessimistic, I guess.
Realistic is one too.
I mean, well, realism is, but reality is relative. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So. And it's based on perception. Like, it's no real reality. You know what I'm saying? Like, what you consider reality is somebody else might not. Yeah.
It's true.
So, that's my fist up moment for the day.
Good job, Dave. That was the weakest fist up moment we've ever had.
That's not my thing. That's your thing. You wasn't saying that. No, but
I did say something.
What'd you say?
I said something. I don't remember what it was.
See.
You said okay.
Right?
Yeah.
With an AY.
With an AY.
But I do want to get into talking to our guest today. It's so great to have Miss Anika Hobbs here with us. It's always a great time when she comes through and hangs out with us. Welcome. How are you?
Thank you.
Good
Outstanding.
To see you. That's great. Are you optimistic or are you? No. But
hold on. I'm sorry. I got to interrupt. So, this dude Greg Jones is watching, right?
Okay.
He's my favorite basketball player ever of all time.
Okay.
He's on my live right now.
That's dope.
I feel special. He don't even know me.
Shout out
to
to
Greg Jones.
Yeah.
I'm your biggest fan. I know it sounds crazy. I'm a grown man, but
Nah, it's the
Shout out to
same
you.
thing as, spreading love.
Okay,
you can
yeah.
be a fan of somebody and be a
that's
grown
what's
man.
up. I'm sorry, but I didn't mean to interrupt. But
But how did
No,
he
no,
not
you
know
good.
you and he's on your?
well, Facebook, I've friended a whole bunch of people I don't know.
Okay, and so he's not like he's professional or he's
No, he played. Did you ever go to the league? I know he played for West Virginia. He might have went to the league for I don't know, but I think he went to Cardozo.
but
But
yeah,
he used to play in the Herbo, and I was like,
Okay.
yo, he was just crazy.
it's so interesting how you know people and they might not have
Right,
seen
for
a
he
certain
probably
level,
has
but
no
you
idea
like-
who I am.
But yeah, but you like that's the best. Like I
Right,
know
that's like my
cats
favorite
that.
basketball player
Yeah.
ever of all time.
Yeah, like I know cats like
On my
rappers
life.
like that I'm like, this is the best rapper in the world, but no, not a lot of people, no, I mean they got a
Like
little
D-Smoke.
buzz and stuff like that.
Oh
You said
yeah,
what?
she's a D Smoke fan. He got a new
D-Smoke?
video. You saw it?
Who is D Smoke?
Okay. What? Oh, you about to be in trouble now.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I didn't
tell
mean
him,
it like, I just didn't, I didn't mean it like disrespect. Shout out to D Smoke, wherever you at. I'm sure you,
Come find me.
okay.
See,
All right. See you in the streets is what it sounds like you would say.
202-618.
You gonna tell all the 12 people watching this?
I know, right?
They hear every other word. They can,
Right. If they can decipher this. Yeah.
but yeah, man, I'm so glad to have you here today. The owner, operator, curator of the Nubian Heuman. You started this wonderful place. How long ago did it begin? How long did the actual physical brick and mortar become a thing?
2013.
2013.
September 14th, 2013.
And so I want to ask you this: how long before that was Nubian Heuman a thing in your mind? Like how long when was like the baby, born of for lack of a better way to put it?
Well, technically, I would say 2001, 2002. So pretty much, I was gonna say, I just don't do the math. When I got out of college, I started working. I worked in retail. And, I was just like, why is there no store where there's stuff with everybody that looks like us, made by us? And so I started meeting with some friends, and we just kind of we all wanted to have our own business.
Right.
And so we just kind of started meeting regularly in the early 2000s to start building business plans.
That's dope. And I wanted to ask that question about when the idea started because, a lot of people see the finished product and, they think it's just like, oh, you just came up with it and you bought the trees and stuff and put them in here and made it a wonderful. No, but it takes a lot of work, a lot of thought, a lot of, blood, sweat, and tears to make something like this a reality.
It does.
And you put a lot into it. And then now you have 2 locations, right? Your other location up in Baltimore. How's it going up there?
It's going pretty well.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, Baltimore's. I'm
dope.
sorry. Yeah.
Baltimore's, it's a whole different vibe.
Okay.
Especially, Southeast is already its own vibe in DC.
Right,
but,
yeah.
Baltimore is totally different from, what I've experienced here. So it's definitely some learning happening.
Yeah, it's definitely a different place. It's the wire. It really is.
Not all
really,
of it.
Well, the 97%, Jay, what, like 82%?
Don't put it on me. I love Baltimore.
I mean, I love it too, but you said, we talked about this last week. You talking about the wire, remember? You was talking about how it kind of,
I don't remember, Dave.
I don't got no help today. Where's Patrice?
I don't remember nothing.
Smoking and stuff. But anyway, but yeah, so you have the second location. Are you looking to branch out anymore? Do any more?
We are.
Okay.
As soon as Jason says I can branch out. But
As soon as Jason makes
Yeah.
the decision?
No,
it's-
not right now. No,
Oh, okay.
no way.
He's pretty astute when it comes to business, like decisions and stuff like that. I found he's a, he's a
Yeah.
smart guy.
his brother. Yep.
Contrary to no, I'm just,
You're right.
nah, but yeah. So,
We're not ready to expand yet. No.
Okay. Makes sense. He answered for you. It's a little I can tell you the vibe, but that's cool. It's cool. It's whatever y'all, No, but
And I'm going to call her she.
I said he used the right pronoun. We.
right. Right. We're not ready to.
No,
yeah.
but we definitely do want to expand. It's just making sure that we're in the right markets. We have the
Right,
right team
right.
set up, that our SOPs, everything is in order for that financing. So
Yeah.
right now we're just getting everything in order with DC, Baltimore, and online. So
Okay. Yeah, you do have the online presence. Is that NubianHeuman.com?
it is. It is.
Y'all got the URL. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you mentioned the team. We talked a little before the show about the importance of having a strong team, and just how much that strengthens your brand and things of that nature.
Yeah.
So did it take you a long time to like build it? Because we talked a little bit about how hard it is to get people on the same page and having a team. Like that whole process, was that like how hard was that to get a good strong team behind you?
It's still hard.
It's still hard, right?
We're still building the team.
Right.
So I would say, we've had a lot of turnover since maybe 2018.
Okay.
And it's just been like I hired a whole lot of people, and then it was kind of like, they weed themselves out. People have to go back to school and things like that. Probably half of my team went back to school. But and retail is definitely hard. Even when I worked for H&M, they have like a 65% turnover. So they're constantly hiring. So why would this small business be any different? The base is still retail. So, it is hard. It's more so not even about finding people who have the skills, but it's more so about finding people who understand the culture.
Right.
And not just like Black culture, but the culture of Nubian Heuman and the brand.
Right.
So yeah, it is pretty hard. But once they got it, it feels great.
Yeah. It's like you're enlightening them, opening their minds. That's beautiful.
And mine too. They're opening mine as well. Having different perspectives and having their own background, and they see things that I don't. I'm not here every day, so definitely, we're all under the same umbrella. So,
that's amazing. Yeah, definitely. So you have your team, or you're still building your team. You got it intact. You got your branches set up. But so you say you're not really ready to branch out yet. So what's the next move you guys are making? Well, I don't want to give away any secrets or anything like that either.
There's
but
no secrets.
Yeah.
No, this I've deemed this year the year of order. Awesome. So this is the year where we have to make, as Jason says, a concerted effort to get a fine-tuned machine, right? So once we make it through the Black Love Experience, so March 21st at the Arc, blackloveexperience.com, once we make it through that, that's wholeheartedly my focus.
Okay.
So how do we get, stronger routines in place? How do we just figure out some more systems and things to make it easier on us so that we can grow? Like, it's time to scale.
Okay.
So, there's some other ventures that I'm looking to get into. There's some other opportunities that come in front of me. So, yes, it's got to be a year of order.
Okay.
Yeah, Nubian Heuman should be something that I can like literally step out of for 3 months so I can go live on my island and then come back, So
you mentioned your island. Where exactly? No.
Anguilla, white sands.
Wow.
Clear water. Yeah.
Anguilla. That's but you mentioned the I'm gonna stay focused. You mentioned the Black Love Experience. Can you talk a little bit about that? That's I know that you guys event that you hold.
Yeah, so it's March 21st this year, and it's at the Arc, 1901 Mississippi Avenue. Yeah. It starts at 7, ends at 12 a.m. and pretty much it's just a night of like insane excellence. So this is the 7th year. We had the first 5 years were here. And it was in February, and then we moved it to March, and we have it at the Arc now. Okay. So we have a whole campus of creative. So pretty much it's just like this night of like live music. Jason's performing with Black Alley, Belladonna, DuPont Brass. We did a contest with the Washington Performing Arts through their Mars Artist program, and so we'll be announcing who are the top 4 this week, so people can start voting on blacklove.com, blackloveexperience.com. So there's live music. There's like 70 different vendors. We have 3 different bars, and all the bars are all Black brands. So all the whiskey, the wine, the beer, the gin, all of it are all Black brands. We have a food park outside. There's a creative agency. It's called Black House, and they'll be doing like a pop-up outside. We have what else? Panel discussions. We'll be announcing a big artist hopefully next week. Once that ink dries, we'll be able to put it out. But somebody that's really big. We have interactive art, acoustic sounds upstairs. Then there's like wellness. There's all sorts of things. So any type of person, anything that you're into, there's something that you're going to gravitate to.
Wow. Yeah.
So, and it's just straight love. Like everybody leaves on like, and Jason, you can hop in whenever you want to, but I feel like everybody leaves on this like high, right?
Okay.
So it definitely like resonates in your heart when you just see beautiful Black people and just the amount of joy in that night. So,
wow.
yeah, it's the Black love experience, and you have to experience it. Everybody, like, I get these messages, these DMs, like, what is this?
Yeah,
and it's kind of hard to explain.
Right.
Yeah, it's so hard because it's like a mishmash of whole different things. But the intention, the undercurrents of what happens is the intention that is within that is we go hard in there. We really want everybody to kind of leave with joy.
Go hard for Black love. That's dope. That's amazing.
We do.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So where did the idea for it come from? Like you like came up with it and everything?
Yeah. So first it was that we opened in 2013 in September, and I knew that February, just being in retail, is a slow month, right? So everybody's out of like the holidays, New Year, all of that, waiting for those tax checks. So it was, I was like, I have to do something. And so I started here, and I think I had maybe like 4 vendors, and a DJ. And then it was like my sister and my mom, they were like making food and passing food around.
Wow.
And we probably had like 150 people come that first time. And then we did it the next year, and then a team started building. I think you came on year 3 maybe?
I came 2016, whatever year that was.
Yep, year 3. So year 3. Yeah. And we just started like building a team more and more, just folks who were just interested, and just adding more pieces to it. So it kind of just like snowballed. And last year we had about 2,000 people. Our goal this year is 3,000.
Wow. Wait. You said last year you had about
2,000 people?
2,000 people?
Yeah. 2,000 Black folks.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And everything that you've been saying, I've been hearing you say like the bar is stocked with all Black, libations, and everything is like, for everything that's a part of this to be done by people who look like us is so powerful. It's such a huge statement. Yeah. Man, wow. Just
but I mean everything. So I mean like the tech.
Yeah, I know.
Today I have a call with the like production team to do like the pipe and drape. It's a Black company. I mean everything. The t-shirt printing, the bag printing. It almost came down to, it was just that we had already launched. The company that was going to be the ticket hosting site was going to be a Black brand.
Wow.
But we had already launched on the site that we're on. But we still plan to promote that company because we need to do that. So
that's so dope that that everything is Afrocentric. Is that the right? Is Black centric? Is
Black centric?
Black centric. There you go.
Black-centric.
There you go. Yeah. So and everything in your stores is like that too. Like everything that you sell and that comes in is from. You say you have different things from like places in Africa and different things like that.
Yeah, so we have, I would say 98% of our artists are people of color. So we've worked with about 400 artists, probably over 400 at this point, in about 6 different countries and 35 countries and 6 different continents.
Dope.
And so, a lot of them are based on the African continent. So Senegal, Nigeria, Ghana, South Africa, Malawi,
Cote d'Ivoire. I just
Togo,
like saying that.
The first word he done said, all that Cote d'Ivoire. That's dope though. Good pronunciation.
Thank you.
UBC.
So, yeah.
Hey.
So yeah, I mean it's from all over, but then we're diaspora is all over the world. So we have artists from Germany, UK, Australia, South America, all over.
Southeast.
Canada, Southeast.
Hey.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's amazing. Like I'm always like in awe of the energy of Nubian Heuman, but also like your energy too. It's always like positive and very Black centric. I think we coined the term here today. But yeah, so I want to talk to you a little bit about being a Black female entrepreneur.
Black woman entrepreneur.
Black woman entrepreneur. Did I use the wrong? It's female, not the.
Fine.
It's cool. Okay, I want to make sure I'm using all the right superlatives. for you. But some people will say, and this is where we get a little controversial, and some people will say that being a black woman, the entrepreneurship and especially in retail and store ownership and things like that is more difficult. Has that been your experience, or have you seen like differences in maybe how you're treated as opposed to like male or Caucasian counterpart?
You know what? It's interesting because most of my world is black.
Okay.
So, so as far as, man and woman, I think that has not been my case. I have to be honest, that has not been my case. And I probably have built my own reality at this point. So I'm in this bit of a silo, which I probably need to get out of in order for us to grow.
Hey, enjoy your silo.
But I think I haven't felt the challenges of being a woman entrepreneur, and also this is our time.
Right.
So
Yeah, you're in the really good. I can't even
say that it's not. That there's been so much funding and spotlighting and support of being a woman entrepreneur right now, and I can even say a black woman entrepreneur. Although we definitely need a lot more. We're the least funded, the least financed.
Right.
So that poses its own type of challenges. But I have to say that the community that is around me that I've engaged in, I really don't see that as an issue. Although I do believe it is an issue outside of my little planet.
Right.
So yeah.
Well, that's a dope planet to live on. There is that part of that. Can you get to that from the island from Anguilla? Is that
You got to? Yeah, you have to. Yes. By way of, yes.
Okay. That's dope. But yeah, sometimes you have to, I think some of the most successful people kind of have to, you kind of have to close out a lot of the exterior stuff, so just so you can focus and work in your space, and that's where you do the best.
Yeah.
Kind of work. I
mean, but there's definitely challenges. I have gone into rooms and that have been people that have not looked like me. I've been on panel discussions and kind of like belittled. As far as like what the level of conversation that I was having, that I was asked to partake in, and then kind of the questions that were posed to me there afterwards was a little bit disrespectful and disregarding, what level I'm actually on.
Right.
But that's not the world that I'm usually in.
Okay.
So my thing is about black people. It's about showing love. It's about our progress. And so within that, I don't see that issue. It's been great.
Awesome. Well, I'm so happy that that's your experience, because you're an awesome person, and it would suck if you was. What's up?
I have a question for you.
Sure. Yeah. Finally? No, I'm just like, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, because I don't really like to speak unless it's warranted or like it's useful.
Do your thing.
Yeah. So I'm working on this set for Black Love, and there's a point in the set where I bring up kind of like sacrificing, I guess, personal love per se, in an effort to manifest like a vision or a goal or like a dream that I feel is bigger than myself. And so I got to a point where it's like, I really want to experience this type of love and companionship, but I have to reach this goal. I have to get this dream, and I feel like a physical relationship would prohibit me from reaching my goal. And I know Nubian Heuman was like a goal for you in your life. When you were at H&M, you was like, nah, we need a space for us to so could you speak if there's any, if there's any, because people just think like, I'm gonna come up, I'm gonna glow up and get my dream accomplished. Did you have to leave something behind in order to make your business successful or get it to the point that it's at?
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's kind of like how do I say it? So there was one thing, an article that I had read in Entrepreneur magazine that said, like, being an entrepreneur is like being on a lion. And it's like you're on top of the world. You're on, it's king of the jungle. You're on top of king of the jungle. But at the same time, you're doing everything you can to not fall off and get eaten. Mm-hmm. And so that sounds great. But mentally, you have to understand what that looks like. Right. So what that looks like in a day, constant fear, imposter syndrome.
That's such a astute, like, just
the visual.
Yeah. Oh
yeah.
my God.
That's why I remember it.
Well, yeah, I mean, and that's why when we talking to you in regards to entrepreneur, because I know so many people personally, like young girls and people that like look up to you and like, and you're so inspirational to people. Yeah. But it's like, I know you personally, and I know the things, that go into what people see.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And so, and I think discussions about those things would probably be almost more helpful to those people who are inquiring about like what they need to do and like what it takes to become successful.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a lot of sacrifice. And, like when your friends kind of get to like take vacations or, they're like, oh, we're going to go out and things like that. It's like you're not able to, So, of course, that can be a strain on your personal life. I know it's been a strain on my personal life, just being able to be out, and also just like you have order is different for me.
Okay.
People like order and routine is very different. So, a lot of people are able to, you wake up, you get dressed, you go to work, you go home, you eat your dinner, you go to bed.
Right.
My life is completely different than that. And it's kind of like this double dutch of like, especially like when you're dating, when you're talking about love, it's like
romantic relationships is something.
Yeah, it's like my life is like a double dutch. You better get in or these ropes are going to whip you. Cause, so I know, I'm different and I have to embrace that. I've chosen to go after this path. I do think it is greater. I'm not rich by any means. There's times that I don't get checks at all. There's been years I haven't written a check for myself because my team has to get paid. I have to get product in the store. And all of that like it weighs on you emotionally. Yeah. And so when it comes to having relationships, I think the first thing you try to tackle is your emotional stability. And if you don't have emotional stability, you can't bring somebody else into this. So it's like until you get a grip on that. So within that, you sacrifice time being parcel between making your dream come true or this portion of your dream come true, getting yourself together. And then the next thing would be finding a mate, bringing somebody in, having that type of companion. And that can be a very long process. Okay. That can be a very long process. So yeah, there's a lot of sacrifice. There's definitely a lot of sacrifice. And then just even financially, I've had to dip in my IRA, 401k, whatever savings to keep it afloat. I'm not saying that that's the answer, but that was my solution at the time.
Right.
So, it's constant sacrifice. Yeah. We probably don't talk about that. And when we do, it's kind of on the lighter side, you know,
right.
But
Exactly.
we don't really get specific into like, when I opened Nubian Heuman, I had $40,000 cash saved. I'm a saver.
Okay.
And so when I left work, that's how I knew I could leave work and didn't work for a year because I had money saved and I still had that money to open Nubian Heuman. Right. But I had to make a decision. Was I going to buy a house or was I going to start a business? Yeah. So,
And those little decisions like that, that fork in the road, like taking the right path. It's so crazy how like one path gets you somewhere, but another path might take you so far beyond,
right.
And that have that vision and that foresight, and then the stick to itness, for lack of a better word, to just stay with the vision and fortitude. There you go. See, that's why you're here. But
Syracuse.
Yeah.
But and then you also you said when you talk about it, you kind of talk about the lighter side. I giggled a little bit because it's like you kind of have to, because if you get into the dark deepness of it, you just be depressed all the time.
Nah, bro, that's why we here. That's what the Neighborish Livecast is all
well,
about.
I mean, but on the regular to talk. We're here in a supportive environment to
and tying
talk
all
about
of this together, like with the Neighborish Livecast, because you and I talk about all the time. Like I think that's what separates our cast from all of the 7 billion other casts.
Right.
Is that we be honest, but tying that back in to the Black love experience, I think what she left out is that there's also a concerted effort to ensure that people do walk away with a certain feeling, a
the
certain
energy
vibe. You know what I'm saying? It's not like, oh, we're just going to get these people to come. And it's like, nah, like we're doing it in an effort to rally like-minded spirits to take action. You know what I'm saying? It's not just for entertainment. It is good entertainment, good vibes, good energy, but it's also specifically designed to put us in a position so that we can like make moves literally.
Right.
So,
but I think that also resonates to what Nubian Heuman is as well. Like we're very intentional. We're intentional with the music when you come in. We're intentional with how we greet you. We talk about that. That's actually part of our training, like how we greet each other. And because we're not used to saying I love you or giving hugs or you know, like somebody comes into the store, they're crying. I've had people come into the store crying. I'm gonna hug you. I don't know your name, sis, but I'm gonna give you a hug. And you can't get that everywhere. No. And you know, and I think also like Jason always reminds me a lot too, just like the movement of what we're doing and how the pride that you feel in purchasing something here. Like, yes, you go to Macy's or wherever, you feel good about your skirt or your top, your shirt. But it's like here, it's like you go home and there's a different level of pride. You know, we've been pumping out these Black Panther sweatshirts probably for like 2 years now. And I wanted to stop because I was like, you know, I want freshness. But Jason's like, yo, the idea of like these 250, 300 people that are out on the street because Nubian Heuman decided to put Black Panther sweatshirts in the store. How many people are out there just rocking that? What type of conversation and message is out there with that? So yeah, I think everything we do is super intentional, and that sets us apart from other spaces in retail, in events, in everything we do.
So much more than like
open mics.
And then even you guys probably well, I'm sure you guys realize it because you have like the vision and the foresight to see like what it's doing, but the vibe and the energy is not always or is not focused on the money, and you can feel it because it's like most places like will do something like if like Macy's do something for Black History Month or something, you know that it's just because Black people are going to be like, oh, I like that they really cared about us, but it's all about but the vibe and the feeling. The energy in here is so different, and people gravitate toward it. That's what makes like because it's always like serendipitous what people like people are fickle and finicky, but they always gravitate toward like real recognizes real, right? And they gravitate toward that real authentic experience, and I think you guys provide that here, and that's my commercial for Nubian Heuman. Come on in and purchase some things and feel good about yourself. But no, really, seriously, and the fact that it's all pre-planned and meant to be that way is intentional is amazing, and it shows brilliance on both of you guys' parts. And I'm happy to be sitting with y'all because even though y'all wasn't rocking with me earlier,
not quite sure if we. No, I'm just kidding.
You know what?
Just getting through the interview, man. Just getting through.
My goodness, I never felt so. Anyway, this is the last Neighborish we do it. No, we're gonna definitely be back next week.
No, but I mean, just even thinking about it, like you all do your podcast here every Monday. Yeah. You know what I mean? And like that, I think that's amazing. I think that's great that there's a space that you got a key to. You can come any day you want and come do your podcast and not have to worry about, oh, it's this hour or anything. Like, this is your space. This is your space too, and we do that through the events that we have in the store. Like, Jason has his native tongue. That's this Friday. Yeah. So that features Cecily Alexa, which is dope because she just dropped a really dope video. Have you seen the video?
It's super dope.
It's amazing. It's straight art. And so like the open mic has definitely been something that we've been wanting for a long time. And like the right person was able to make it. Jason was able to make it happen, and it's been like picking up, and it's a vibe. Like it's
Definitely,
a vibe, and we have the same thing. Like we're starting the same thing. Same night in Baltimore, we have another music series where my landlord, shout out to Trish, she's amazing. So we're gonna have a black saxophone player and a black baker. So we're just gonna have like some music, some vibes, people kind of like chilling, watching some sound. Then it's like Saturday, we have the art opening for James Flowers here from 6 to 9. So, and the title of it is I think it is The Black Woman God is the name of this exhibit. So I mean, we really try to, we're very intentional, as I keep saying, and we really try to make sure there's a we before an I here.
Right.
So yeah.
That's awesome, man. I'm just like the energy. I love it. It's always good stuff.
No, I'm just sorry, Dave.
It's cool.
I know she had to. She said earlier she had to do a hard out at 12.
Oh, okay.
And I was just trying to keep her on point.
Yeah, I seen the look you gave me, though, it made me nervous. I didn't know if it was.
12:30.
Oh, okay, all right.
I was like, I thought she said 12:30, but it's cool.
She told me something else.
But yeah, but so that's good that it's 12:30 because I do want to talk a little bit. We talked a lot about Nubian Heuman. I want to talk a little bit about Anika Hobbs. And
You asked me before, there's a Nubian Heuman Anika, and then there's Anika Hobbs.
Right.
Yeah, she lives in the shadows.
Okay. Well, I'm not gonna get too. Yeah, I don't want to get too personal and ask you anything. But when you date fellas, no, I'm just
Okay.
But Jay touched on it a little bit though about like trying to balance romantic relationships, and you talked about how difficult it can be. So has that been a challenge for you specifically, or is it just something more that you see as difficult and not like trying to get too big? Oh,
what was the side for?
And not
I'm looking forward to hearing this.
No specifics or anything. I'm just asking. Has it been a challenge for you, and what advice would you give someone trying to do that, trying to balance work and relationship? So it's a 2-part question.
Okay, well, when I was dating Mike, no, I'm just kidding.
Dang, Mike.
No, has it been a challenge? It definitely has been a challenge. Just like I said, just going out has been a challenge. You're not going to meet everybody coming through these doors. So I would say that part has been kind of difficult. But you make time for what you want. So
exactly. Oh, that's a good.
I truly believe that, like, if this is something that you definitely want, you go after it. You make time for it. Just like you make time to go to the gym or the hairdresser or get your nails done, whatever it is, the barber. You can make time for dating. It is the challenge is that you have to have somebody that is understanding of your career and your life path, but I think that there definitely are. I've met, men. I've dated men who are understanding of that. Shout out to like it was my boyfriend at the time that helped me open Nubian Heuman.
Okay.
Not financially, but he did a lot of heavy lifting. You know what I mean? Like he was definitely here with me late nights and building my register, and he did a lot for me. So
dope.
He understood that, and so. Yeah, it does. It definitely poses a challenge. I've also been told that because I own a business, I'm looked at it as a woman who doesn't need a man. And
so I hear I have a lot of female friends, right? And we have a lot of in-depth conversations, like friends on a level of almost like family. And so we have a lot of in-depth conversations. And I do hear a lot of the women on a certain level financially or in the business world. For women, there is a perception that they are perceived by men as intimidating, but I don't hear that as much from men. Do you find that men seem to be intimidated, or because you say you heard it, but is it your experience that men, or they look at you as you don't need anything, Yeah, I mean, I've had a conversation with 3 men and a boy, and actually the boy was like, I know why, because you own a business, so you're looked at as if you don't need anything, and that you're independent and you can do everything on your own.
which to a certain extent I can.
Yeah, do
but,
everything on your
but not everything.
Right.
Right. So not everything, but I mean, I'm a woman. I want a yang to my yin.
Yeah.
And, I definitely think that, although it's not the answer to my life would be more fulfilled with a companion. So, but, I've dated men who like buy me stuff, and that's not my love language.
Okay.
I don't need somebody to like buy me everything unless it's my island. Unless it's Anguilla.
Fellas, if you're listening, the way to Anika saw Anguilla.
Period.
That has a direct connection to her planet. That
Right.
But
yeah, I mean, it is definitely a challenge, and we have conversations too. A lot of women come through here. Some of my best friends, we talk about that as well. They're able to provide for themselves. They have well-paying jobs. If they have children, they take care of their children while the father may not. So they're always looked at as being able to take care of everything. But no, that's not who we are. That's not who we are.
And so, even if you can't take care of everything, you're not looking for somebody to take care of you. You're looking for a partner, right? You're looking for
somebody to pick up boxes,
right?
And stuff. I'm tired of picking up heavy boxes myself. Take my car, get some gas. Babe,
wait a minute, this kind of
babe, I got you.
It's a little chauvinistic, but okay, like. You can, but no, yeah, definitely understood. So the second part of that is, if you were to talk to someone, you say you have conversations with people who are going to do different things. What kind of advice does Anika give to people, or do you give advice or suggestions, or just be like, do you?
When it comes to entrepreneurship?
Entrepreneurship and balancing relationships.
Well, I mean, balancing relationships, I just think you have to have your separate time, right? Unless that person is extremely invested in, luckily, I would say the past, except for one, but I would say the past couple or so guys that I've dated, they are interested in what is, in my day to day.
Okay.
So, it worked out for me to talk about it, but if not, then put it down. Talk about something else. Be interesting, like find some other things to talk about. But I just think the advice is just you have to carve out time for it. The same way how you carve out time for your business, you have to carve out time for a relationship.
True.
But you can't depend on it to make you happy or be the answer to the other side of the chaos that happens in business.
Right,
you can't lean on your relationship to be that. You have to have that wholeness in yourself. But I mean, there's no big advice. I just put your mind, put your time to it, and it'll come. It'll come.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's actually good advice, even though you said it's no advice.
Thank you.
It's pretty strong,
Appreciate
sound advice.
I've been through enough relationships to know.
I hear you. And so I want to ask Jay too, because you're a real busy dude. You do a lot in this world. Do you find that it's a sacrifice? Because you kind of brought up you were kind of formulating the question as you were asking her. For a second there, I was like, is he about to propose to a nigga? No, I'm just playing. but seriously, but I know where that comes from, because we've had conversations about it, and I know that you deal with it too. So this is a true question for you. Like, what do you do? So, in your personal experience, like balancing like all the things that you do all the time, and relationships as a whole, like, have you found that it's difficult? I just want to give another position from that she gave the feminine, so you got to give the masculine.
Well, to be honest, man, it's like it's not even really a balance, because I don't date, and I've already committed, kind of at a young age, that I would follow my path, and that would probably entail sacrificing relationships. And I don't think, I as I stated earlier, I'm dealing with this in my set to come to Black Love.
You hear more in depth.
Yeah, you will actually. But I've chosen my path, and it doesn't seem to be what hasn't been thus far. It hasn't been the proper situation to have a relationship, because I'm dealing with a path of community organizing, grassroots organizing, and in communities and through the arts, and it's a cumbersome task. It seems as though it's an uphill battle, but it's a winnable battle. And so already seeing
is that some optimism?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually already seeing the victory is the motivation to be like, okay, by any means necessary, we have to accomplish this goal. And so the commitment and time it takes to accomplish this seemingly insurmountable goal probably will require all of my time, but it's also inclusive in like parenting, like that's all in the same thing. And so unless there's a compatible mate that understands that purpose and that drive and actually is a part of it. So if I were to be intertwined with somebody, I want to be a part of their drive, their goal, their life mission. I don't want to be like a separate, like, oh, this is the time where I'm committed to this work, and this is the time that I'm committed to making this relationship work with this person. So, to answer your question, it hasn't really been a struggle or except because you're human, then you fall in love with people by accident. It's like, oh, I didn't expect to be having these feelings and dealing with this thing pulling at my heart. And it's like, but at the end of the day, if that person doesn't, if those two people don't lift and encourage each other towards their already destined goals, I don't think you should force, what you personally want to interfere with like divine paths that people have been sent along.
A lot of people do that and get stuck on that forcing part.
Yeah, so I ain't trying to force nothing, but so it hasn't really been a struggle per se, except when I can't say with you, when I have met, it's not even a lot of people. Like I'm one person in particular in my straggly love life, but but yeah, man. So it's like to answer your question, there hasn't
There's six
really
women out there disappointed right now. They was like, I thought I was.
No, they're not.
Anyway,
no, I have no fear of that happening. But yeah, so it's really about which, like Anika said, like you make time for what you want and what you feel is important. And just fly by night flings aren't important to me. But if I meet somebody and I really get a sense of their energy and their spirit and their drive and their commitment to themselves, that's attractive to me. Like, oh, this person is kind of committed and has a drive and is seeking to, and it's not even like, oh, how can they help me? My first instinct was like, I wonder how I can help her.
Right, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, but if that isn't reciprocated the other way,
it's tough.
It's not tough. It's not the fit. It's easy.
Oh, yeah.
So that's kind of where I stand.
As I said, it's tough. It's human. I always say it's human nature to make things more difficult than they have to be. But I tell people, because you're right, it's not tough. Because we make it harder. Like, oh, now I got to decide. No, just
if it doesn't,
it's okay. People always feel like the dissolution of a relationship is losing, but sometimes it's supposed to dissolve. It ain't supposed to be what it is. So
and I think if you're doing the right things in your personal life, like God will align you with what you're supposed to be aligned with. And maybe you think like, it should be this person. It should, but God just like, nah, bro. Wait 2 years and I'll prove to you why I was right. It's like, okay. So now I just listen at first, like, okay, I got you. Yeah. I don't need the tough lesson.
So I want to, I just wanted to ask you that, Jay, because you always have interesting.
I don't know if that made any sense.
No, it did. It did.
Sorry.
I followed you kind of, right? It was anyway.
That's all I expect.
A little patchy, but it was all right. No. No, but I definitely wanted to show that because both of you guys are on similar, kind of paths and wavelengths, and I think that's why you guys work well, together. But to see that. The perspectives of that question from both sides is interesting, and I'm glad that happened. Yeah. So, but so the Nubian Heuman.
It's just Nubian Heuman, Dave.
Well, I mean, it's okay.
I keep
he was
telling
saying,
you.
so I would say like the Nubian Human. We're live from the Nubian.
That's like a
Human.
person. Hey, I'm
But
here
it's
with the
not-
Nubian Human.
No, but like the Nubian Human
So, like,
location,
the black
or like
human.
the Nubian Human boutique, or like But anyway, it's just Nubian Human. Yeah, and he would point to it and be like, "It's right there. Do you see it?" Man, I'm like, "Nah, no, you're right." And so I started saying it, but sometimes I'll throw the in front of there accidentally. I apologize. I felt guilty because I'm sitting here with the Nubian Human. So,
Well, yeah, if anybody, it would be her. She's the Nubian Human.
I told you. It's you. We got to get to a superhero outfit and teach you to fly, I guess. I don't know how that. But
My kids think Dave can fly for real.
I can.
Because
They
I
saw
call him
me one
Super
day.
Dave. They really like real life think he can fly. I'm like, he's just not showing y'all right now.
I'm going to do it one day.
That's what you say? He's not showing y'all right now?
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of pressure, right?
Well, my kids think I'm retired as Batman. They really think it's not even a game. Like I can't even let, because this is live and it's going to air like, yeah, I am retired.
As
I
bad.
used to be Batman in my younger days.
Why do you wait?
You
Wait.
and every little boy.
Right. Yeah. That was,
I didn't say that, children. Daddy's retired.
Superman at one point. But anyway.
We live next to Superman.
Right,
He
yeah.
doesn't fly anymore.
They're probably like, Daddy, well, everybody all retired. And
Right,
I'm
it was
like,
just-
well, these
They'll
boys
feel it
figuring
when their knees, when they don't feel it when
Right,
they get
yeah.
old. They'll be like, oh, this is why they
All
retired.
that fighting caught up with him.
They'll figure it out.
You can't do it forever. But so, speaking of retirement and all that, so what do you look forward to, like in those days? Like, do you have like a plan? Oh, well, I already know
I'm
the
about to say,
island.
Dave,
You're going
I
to
already
the
told
island.
you, I'm
It's
out.
obvious.
Island, the
You
planet.
answered all the questions before I. So you're going to Anguilla.
Oh, yeah.
That's
a
a.
few years.
Okay, that's in the plans.
Sooner than
That's
later.
already
Yes,
it's set
it's
up.
real.
Cool.
Yeah.
To be clear, when you said that at first, you'd be like, "Yeah, I'll just go to my island," like you already, like it's already there.
Well,
You already-
I firmly believe in claiming it.
Oh yeah, okay,
know, like,
okay,
that's
okay.
what
No, I
I
was just
did.
asking if you already had it because I was going to say, can we ride over there real quick just to check some stuff? I just want to see what it looked like
Sure,
over there.
sure.
Okay, but
No, not yet. But retirement, hopefully, I do hope to retire as having, multiple businesses
right,
that
right.
are, for the most part, self-functioning with the teams that work on them.
Right.
That's ultimately the goal, because I would like for us to get into like manufacturing, incubation, definitely franchising at some point. We have to really work through that model. I've been doing a lot of research and speaking with
Nice.
folks in that who are franchisees and franchisors. So there's a lot of things that I'm, just looking into to see what the long-term possibilities are for Nubian Human. So
I could tell you have that energy, like you have like a lot of things working at the same time in your brain.
do I
like-
look crazy? If I'm
No,
doing it?
no, that's not. See,
Just
that's-
kidding.
but see, a lot of people
Depends
mistake-
on who you ask.
A lot of people mistake it for insanity, but it's actually brilliance. It's a lot of things moving at the same time and a lot of
Yeah.
thoughts, and you just
There's a lot of thoughts. Yeah.
have that time to get focused and just start producing everything and be a gajillionaire.
Right.
And
That's the plan.
She's a publicist too.
the publicist
She wears a many hats.
many hats.
You still a she? You still a she?
I'm always a
Okay, I'm just
she.
checking. Based on the conversation we had earlier, I got to be good with the pronouns.
Why would she not be a she?
I don't know.
I've been a she.
Ask the
her
people who writing
since
that
day
bill.
Well, I mean,
Why would she not be a she? Exactly.
that's the language, but you can't change. And that was my point about it. Is
No,
like
you
we
can
still.
change.
See?
Well, I mean, you can't, but yeah, you can. I don't have a comeback for that. You're right, but yeah.
Because I was being funny one time. I
Anika
was in
stupid.
this play, with a whole bunch of different
People.
folks. Yeah, and just because I wanted
Individuals, Jay.
Yeah, individuals.
Language
Well,
from-
folks,
Folks is
folks
fair.
is
Folks is
cool.
fair.
Folks is cool.
Somebody go get mad.
And I was just
Yeah,
like,
bro.
well, to fit in, I was like, well, I want to be addressed as they. And everyone did it. But they didn't. They didn't
He
because I
sound really
came back
happy
the
about
second
that.
day and they weren't doing it. And I was upset. I was like, I asked to be acknowledged as they.
Do you feel like they
Why
felt like
would
you
you
was
do
making
that?
fun of them though?
Probably so. But so what? Like the whole statement was, well, we will address you as according to what you want
Identify.
Yeah, and that's what I said.
I'm gonna start identifying as a
but then the
millionaire.
next day they didn't do it, and I was like, should I be offended? But I wasn't.
Yeah, well,
But I was just like, so it only
and-
works. It seems like a flawed system.
And before we start to get into that conversation,
Yeah, that's all I got on that. That's all I got.
We're
Okay.
not gonna delve into that whole thing. Before we go, though, I have to ask you. I know I asked you the first time you were here, but I always like to ask this question because I always like the answer that I get.
Okay.
If you had an opportunity to talk to young Anika, let's go. Do you remember when I asked you before?
It's probably something about go for it, be fearless, maybe.
Okay,
What I
so
say last
I
time?
usually go like preteen, like adolescent. Let's go 19-year-old Anika.
Ooh,
She was wilding then. That's
yeah.
wild
I
out.
I didn't know her back then. Did you know her, Jay?
Nope.
You,
Nope.
you heard the stories?
I know her now, so I know what she was like at 19.
So yeah, if you could just whisper a bit of advice to 19-year-old.
Put the
Anika.
drink down.
Probably true.
Wow.
I told you.
Well, this is what Anika. Now with Jay.
I'm
would
sorry.
say,
Go back
too.
Okay.
home and study.
Right,
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, what would that conversation be like? If she walked in right now and you had a chance to talk to her, what would that conversation
Oh my
be like?
goodness, 19-year-old Anika. Jeez, that was so long ago.
5 years. You know,
That long ago?
5 years. That's right. 5 years.
Yeah. So
Let me see.
22,
My
what are you talking about?
19-year-old self. I would say probably something around like plan for nothing but be ready for everything.
try to get all philosophical.
Right, yeah.
Real. Because I feel like, I planned when I graduated, when I graduated college, I was like, yeah, I want to be this big architect and I want to have my own office and my briefcase and all this other stuff. And I would say when I was of that age, I did have my own office. I was making good money, but it
At
wasn't.
19?
No. When I graduated.
Oh,
When I
okay. I'm sorry.
graduated. Not right after I graduated, but a few years into
you
it,
attained
to my
it. That's
career.
cool. Yeah.
And but it looked completely different than what I had dreamt up in my mind. And even with like Nubian Heuman opening my store, this is what I have in my mind, but it's a piece of it, and it's here, but I have to be open to whatever's gonna come.
The evolution,
So I would just say that, because in college you're told like, yeah, go to school, then you get out, you get to be this, but it's kind of like it doesn't really work like that.
Right,
So
right.
yeah, just being more pliable and but focused, I think I would have told myself at 19.
Okay. Pliable is the
SU.
word of the
Syracuse.
Yep,
day. Yeah.
all day.
Pliable.
PWI.
Right. Yeah. That's
Sally
awesome.
Mae.
Sally Mae. You got to claim them.
Right.
They getting a piece of the Sally Mae.
Yeah. But yeah, that's my story.
Awesome.
Stick it to
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us again, man.
Thank
It's always
you.
awesome when you come through. Like
He called you man.
I'm offended.
Did I say man?
No, ma'am.
I feel like I said.
You didn't say ma'am?
I feel like I
It's
did.
live, so we can go back.
We can go back and look at it.
Oh my
anyway,
gosh.
because I'm a lie anyway. I'm gonna say whatever Nika said I called her is whatever. But
See, now, but this is what happened. Now we're all stuck and confused.
Right.
Can't get
That's
get
what
to
I'm
a
saying. That's the whole
conversation.
point.
Don't know
but
what
anyway,
you're saying.
I'm a big fan of your energy.
Thank
Like,
you.
Yeah,
Same
so I
here.
appreciate you coming and sharing that energy with us today. Before we go, I definitely want you to talk about the Black Love Experience, where people can find it, how they can get tickets and things of that nature.
Yeah, so they can go to blackloveexperience.com, spelled out all the way, BLACKLOVE experience.com. Or you can go to Nubian Heuman, NUBIANHUEMAN.com, and click on the Black Love Experience link. And again, it's March 21st. At the Arc, 1901 Mississippi Avenue here in Southeast DC, for those that are listening that are not in the area. And get your tickets. Prices go up March 1st. So y'all got the plug right now. Go ahead and get those tickets.
Get it.
Yep.
Get it immediately.
Hope
if
to
not
see you
sooner.
there.
Yeah. Definitely. And the Nubian Heuman, you already gave the website. They're online, and they also have locations here.
The Nubian Heuman.
I did it again. I'm sorry. That's the
The damn pronouns.
pronoun I need to give it the. Okay. Nubian Heuman is online, and they have locations here at the Anacostia Arts and
Oh,
at
not even-
the
nope.
Anacostia Arts
And the Baltimore.
Yep.
and in Baltimore. Definitely check them out. Jay, you promoting anything?
Yeah, we got
Oh, yeah,
Native
Friday.
Tongue open mic this Friday. Doors 7:30. Show at 8. The feature is Cecily Alexa, who's been bubbling in DC for the past couple years.
Nice.
She just put out a magnificent EP, a visual EP. It's great. It's promoting Black love and all of that. We also got a sub feature, Super Dave, comedian.
Wait, nah, don't do that.
This Friday,
Sub-feature.
February
Keep forgetting.
28th.
Is it this weekend? No.
No.
I better write some stuff.
Then just the regular stuff. Still got the mixtape is still making its rounds through the culture. It's on my Bandcamp, but I'm trying to funnel everything. Like when Cecily was on here, so everything you can find everything all that I'm doing on jasonslyrics.com, JAYSUNS lyrics.com, and you can figure out all the stuff that I'm doing and I'm working on.
Cool.
Yeah.
And I'm not doing anything at all. Well, Friday I'll be
You'll
here
be featuring as a
making some
comedian.
jokes.
Get my tomatoes.
Oh,
Nah, because if you miss, you're gonna hit the pictures. You gotta,
yeah.
and I'll probably
Mess
have
up
to
your
clean
own
that up.
place, man. Yeah.
So it's like, we're not gonna do that.
So no, but outside of that, just check us out every Monday. We'll be here at Nubian Heuman.
Oh, real quick. I don't know if we discussed that Washington D.C. has legally through legislation made go-go the official music of Washington D.C.
Oh yeah, we're gonna talk about that too because Muriel Bowser was all in it. And
Yeah,
after she already made her statement about not really liking go-go.
Bruh,
seeing how
so
mad
it's a
people
whole
got.
lot to that we got to do another show.
yeah,
but it's still
but,
it's the reason I brought it up at end because it's still like a hot
a
topic
dope,
on a
yeah,
lot of people's
yeah.
timelines, and it's a lot
it's
of discussion groups talking about it online that I'm in. So I just wanted to acknowledge that. Whether people
We'll
view it
talk
as
about
good
it,
or
yeah.
bad,
I think
it
she
has
made a man.
it has happened,
You know.
and we'll delve a little further into that next week.
Definitely. And maybe Anika come back and talk to us. No.
Well, next week we got somebody. We got
Special.
Wes
Trying to
Felton
Yeah.
coming
I'm
next
trying
week.
to add some mystery to it. I was just gonna say somebody special, but thanks.
Well, I
for
mean,
spoiling
Wes
it, but
is
no,
special. We think you're special, Wes, and we love you, brother.
Definitely,
So
100%.
we looking forward to seeing you next Monday here at 11 o'clock on the Neighborish Livecast. Yeah.
Yeah.
You do the outro,
Nah,
Dave.
go ahead. You just did it.
Oh,
That's
okay,
it.
I was going to do it, but I was like,
waiting for
damn,
you to do the
I'm
piece.
taking
Yeah, that
Dave's
was it.
job.
Nah, man, we share the job. Go ahead.
Okay,
You got it.
yeah.
That's
So
you. One more time. Go ahead.
All right, so yeah, next week we looking forward to Wes Felton coming to join us on the Neighborish Livecast. Reporting? No, we're not reporting.
All right. Let me do
Yeah,
it.
just keep your damn job. I ain't trying to. I stay in my lane.
Delegate once in my life.
Nope.
No. But thank you guys so much for checking us out on the Neighborish Livecast. Thank you to Anika Hobbs for coming through and for letting us use her amazing location to do what we do.
Y'all are awesome.
Nubian Heuman. Oh, well, we just try to be as awesome as you are. Thank you, Jay, for rocking with me. Shout out to Patrice.
Fruitfit.
She's out there
Fruitfit.com.
doing her training today, but she'll be back with us next week. And join us next week. Wes Felton to be here, and it's gonna be another amazing show. This has been the Neighborish Livecast. Peace.
Peace.
It stopped. 60 minutes.